the Dutch Grand Prix is over, and it's one to remember. Chaos somehow delivering a result for Oscar Piastri as he navigated so many safety cars, 3 in the end, and a virtual safety car to boot. And he'll be looking very happy after Lando Norris ended up with a mechanical failure, which could alter the championship. We'll see by Abu Dhabi. I'm Jim Kimberley, and I've got Tim Kraaij from GPBlog on the ground in Zandvoort to talk everything from the Dutch Grand Prix. And Tim, Lando Norris's DNF, and one of these old school failures, we don't seem to get a lot of them these days, came out of nowhere. This is not good for Lando's championship hopes.
No, I think it was ironic because on Friday we were sitting in a Dutch roundtable with Toto Wolff, and we looked back at his management of 2 drivers being very close to a championship fight with Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. And he was back then referring to 2016 and especially the Malaysia Grand Prix where Lewis Hamilton fell out of DNF because of an engine failure. Toto Wolff was describing that as letting your driver down, and that the aftermath of that incident also learned him that it was better to let the drivers fight for the world title themselves than what he did at that moment, try to control it a little bit more. So that was a lesson he tried to give Andrea Stella. McLaren likes to do it their own way. But yeah, ironically, in the same weekend, we're talking about that. This morning, I was in the car and we were talking about it. Like, we don't have that anymore in F1 nowadays, that we have reliability problems having an effect on a Formula One season. And then in the same race, we have the reliability problem for Lando. So yeah, it's a big thing for the championship, of course. Oscar Piastri now 35 points clear of his teammate, which is a big gap considering the fact that they will finish 1 and 2 a lot this season. So a big step ahead, and will be a mental tough blow for Lando Norris to take as well. Of course, Malaysia 2016, there were less races to go in the season. We still have a lot of races to go, 9, 225 points. So the Wolff calculated very quickly to go. So there's still a lot to play for. But this could be the turning tide in the championship.
It's the second time we've said this about the turning tide in the championship, because after the Canadian Grand Prix, Lando seemed oddly calm on the radio in his reaction to retiring from the race in a championship fight. The same thing happened again today in Zandvoort. Is Lando in a better headspace than the rest of us, or a worse one? I can't figure out how he can remain so calm when so much is on the line. You mentioned Lewis Hamilton's Malaysia one, and I can look at the picture and still hear his no radio message pleading. Lando just doesn't seem to be there.
No, if it's mentally better, I don't know. It's a little bit more boring, I would say. I think that's more it. And you would like to have a little bit more edge to this championship, a little bit more spice. I've been talking a lot in this paddock to a lot of people, and I think the main conclusion from everyone is we only have 9 races left to go, and we have a tight championship fight, and there's not even one highlight of this championship between the 2 rivals. And I think that's never been done before, or at least not for a long time, where we never have one incident between 2 drivers. Even with Max and Sergio, there were several moments in the season where they at least had some tension between them. But there's no tension here. That even with things like this, there must be something in Lando that he wants to give a reaction after this. He must feel let down a little bit, although of course, everyone know it's not on purpose that McLaren gets an engine failure here, or an issue with the car at least here. But yeah, you would like to have a little bit more tension, a little bit more emotion. But I do have to say, Lando Norris after the race said there was no risk for him anymore, so he could go a little bit more all out. Don't know what that means, because Andrea Stella keeps on saying like, oh, no, we're going to race fair, we're going to keep it equal, and they still need to race for the team and within our rules. So yeah, maybe we get a different Lando from Monza onward, where he's taking a little bit more risks, maybe thinking a little bit about himself more, but we have to see that. But yeah, so far it's been very clean between the two drivers, and yeah, maybe a little bit boring as well. And yeah, I hope that this moment is maybe not a turn in tide in championship, but also a turn in tide in terms of the energy in this championship, because there's a world title up for grabs for Peep's sake.
I totally agree with what you mean. If you think about Hungary last year, that's a sort of flashpoint that you expect from a championship, right? Like some sort of, you need to give the position back. No, I'm not going. Like, that was more tense than anything we've had in the championship so far. So you raise a really interesting point, Tim. It wasn't all going well for Lando from the off either, because it's a 1-2 start, McLaren locking out the front row, but then he wasn't in P2, Max Verstappen deciding to go onto the soft tyres, hoping for rain by the looks of it, but got such a good start and took P2 from Lando off the line. What was the reaction from Red Bull on this super start from Max Verstappen?
You already know Max is starting on the softs compared to the mediums for McLaren, and then you know, especially here, you get hyped up on the grid as well with all the Dutch flavored music, which not every English person will understand. But I was hopping up and down on the rhythm of the music because I know all
Can
the
you give us a
songs.
little song as well, please, Tim? That would be
I'm
excellent.
not gonna sing. No, we're not gonna do that on record. I do that in a karaoke bar after. No, but you felt that hype and you know something is gonna happen. And then when you see him on the outside, almost going for P1 even, then the move here in the third corner, I'm very close to it, doing that move on Lando, making it stick, keeping it on the road. I think only he can do it. Max constantly shows that he is still the best driver in F1 by a mile. And I asked that to Lauren McKees afterwards in the press session with him. I asked him what the reaction was on the pit wall at Red Bull Racing during lap one and what they think of Max Verstappen as a driver when you see something like that. And yeah, he couldn't stop laughing and smiling during his answer as well, like saying that even though they worked together with him every day for many years now, for Laurent, it's a little bit shorter, of course, but they work so much with him, but they still, yeah, they're still amazed by the things he's doing. And this as well, they were like, yeah, how is he doing this? How is he doing the move? How does he keep it on track? They are just amazed, and yeah, they were in awe of what he did during lap one.
Getting to stop it into turn 3 isn't something that seemed to be possible for everybody, because we saw incident after incident there, and in particular for Ferrari, neither Ferrari finishing the race. Let's start with Lewis Hamilton. He ends up as the first Ferrari out, and in, I don't even know if it was slippery conditions, but uncharacteristic, I'd like to say, error from Lewis, crashing out possibly on the paint. This is the 7-time world champion, but it's reminding me of the latter years of Sebastian Vettel, where he just seemed to be losing his edge a little bit. Is this the same for Lewis? Is this the Ferrari effect?
Maybe not the Ferrari effect, but
Right.
over the years, physically, you're gonna lose out, of course, when you get older, and that's not something only for Hamilton, but that's just when you become older, that becomes less, and you can cover a lot up by experience. But I think we've seen it already over the last few years that it's declining a little bit. I think 2021, we've seen some very high moments in of the skill level that he still had. Only I think in the recent years at Mercedes, it was already a little bit less, becoming a little bit less, ending up in Mercedes giving him only a 1+1 deal contract, which just moved him to go to Ferrari. And over at Ferrari, he's losing out to Leclerc. And then you see incident like this, and you see it with Fernando as well. These are incidents you really don't want to see with those type of people, because you rate them very highly, and I rate Lewis very highly as well. But these are incidents that are not incidents that would have happened 2021 or the years before. These are incidents happening because the level is dropping a little bit, and it doesn't mean that the raw talent is still there and that he can perform at a very high level at some moments. But you see that over a longer season, over a 24 race season, that he's having more moments like this and lacking the consistency to really beat Charles Leclerc over a whole season, beat George Russell over a whole season. Yeah, if you then come up in a championship winning car maybe next year, you're going to have a problem, because you're not going to win the championship if you can't beat your teammate over 24 races. So after the race, he spoke to the press, of course, and he was still quite positive about the whole weekend and the fact that it had gone better this weekend for him, and the feeling with the car was a bit better. And I was surprised with that reaction, because I was like, this was a silly error to make for him, for a 7-time world champion, an uncanny mistake for him. And I was like, I expected a different response on that, especially after the response he gave in Hungary. So yeah, I agree with you. It's becoming a negative trajectory from here onwards, and we can still see some flashes of good stuff from him. But yeah, these things happen more often now as well.
Charles Leclerc was the other Ferrari, and a very tricky day for Ferrari fans. They'll be hoping this doesn't happen next weekend at their home race at Monza. But Leclerc He was doing pretty good, but quite an optimistic move, I have to say, by Antonelli. You said earlier only Verstappen can make this move. It wasn't into that corner, but he certainly slowed it down despite struggling on entry. Antonelli couldn't slow it down, hits Charles Leclerc, and then it's 0 points. It wasn't looking like Ferrari's best weekend of the year, but it was looking like they were going to be getting a solid haul of points, maybe 15 or so. This is so poor from Ferrari to walk out of this race weekend with no points, especially going into Monza. Did you have a chance to hear from Leclerc? What is the thoughts at Ferrari?
Yeah, Leclerc was quite calm after the race, I have to say. It was a mistake by Kimi. He spoke to Kimi already. He didn't make a big deal out of it. Kimi knew he was at fault as well. So I don't think there was a big thing going on over there. Kimi tried, misjudged the corner and took Leclerc out. It was already a tough race for Charles, of course. He had the moment with George, missed out on the first safety car where he lost the position as well. He raced aggressively with George. He had to go to stewards for that as well. So it was already a little bit of a scrappy race. Overall, Ferrari seemed to have a good car this weekend, or at least in the mix for P3. But yeah, with Lewis falling out, and then Charles got unlucky with the moment with Antonelli. It's been a horrible weekend for them, and yeah, the pressure will mount coming forward to Monza. Although I think for Ferrari, all eyes are more on 2026 than on this season, because yeah, the world title is already at McLaren. It's already. I think they can send the trophy to Woking already.
It's pretty close now, isn't it? Speaking of 2026, a driver that might be on the up and up to a Red Bull Racing for 2026, Isaac Hadjar, unexpectedly getting his first podium, and you were there to witness it. Congratulations. This driver, this rookie, was not the one I was expecting to be excelling to the level that he has been this year, but did so well in qualifying and then just remained more or less on the tail of Verstappen throughout these repeated restarts. Didn't seem to be looking like he might lose a position, and then ends up, because of Norris, on the podium. Talk me through Isaac Hadjar's amazing Zandvoort weekend.
Yeah, he keeps amazing everyone here. I just spoke this morning with people from, I want to say AlphaTauri, but that's not the case anymore, Racing Bulls. And I could have just read behind me, but yeah, I just spoke to them as well. Everyone within the team is surprised. Look, his trajectory to F1 hasn't been one of very, very high highs, to say the least. It was F2. His first season was not that good. F2 second season was good, but highs and lows. And then to have that consistency here in F1, I think it amazes everyone, and not at least by Helmut Marko. He's very impressed with his driver. And I think it's one to watch for Red Bull Racing next season. Of course, the talk is about that becoming Max Verstappen's teammate. I think a lot of people will say it's maybe better for him to get a year of extra experience at Racing Bulls. But yeah, Red Bull is not known for doing the usual and more doing the bold choices. So yeah, it's probably going to end up being something different. But let's see. I think Hadjar is proving from week to week that he's such a strong driver, so consistent, very talented, and to get a podium in your first season in a car that is the car of Racing Bulls, that's just an enormous surprise. And I think what surprised me most is, like, you've had instances where Racing Bulls got a podium or got a win, but a lot of luck was involved. And of course, he had the luck in terms of Lando Norris having his engine failure, but that was all. All the rest was on merit. So he stick to the gearbox from Max Verstappen, and he never let go. He was able to fend off Charles Leclerc. He was able to fend off George Russell. They couldn't get near him. So Isaac is getting more and more maybe the best rookie so far this season, especially with this performance.
Well done to Isaac. It's brilliant to see this rise, and the rookies really showing how good they can be, even the ones you're not expecting to do so well. But I have to call it there because there's so much that's happened. We're going to have a little bit of a rest and recharge before this is the second part of the doubleheader. The Italian Grand Prix is coming up next, of course, a home race for Ferrari. But we have to really see McLaren, their long-term rival, what's going to happen, because Norris really needs to bounce back. And Tim, hopefully you're right that this is the start of a new chapter in a good way for this championship, and Norris doesn't hold back. We'll find out in a week's time. Thank you for everything you brought to us so far, Tim, and thank you everybody else for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe on YouTube, and we'll see you for the Italian Grand Prix.